these things
run
are.
again.
We'll laugh about this another time.
I'm looking. I don't remember what the username is. First time?
It's hard to get the one you want, though.
Maybe the orange. Don't anything orange one.
Is that your favorite?
Just mess with it.
I like orange and yellow and red. Pink is really the only one I don't like.
Well,
I want strawberry.
right now.
Cynthia eats all the strawberries.
By the way, she wrote a big another Facebook page.
I guess I should go look at Facebook, shouldn't I?
Yeah, you really should.
Were you guys at the new bridge over 540 the other night taking pictures? Cynthia?
Cynthia was, yeah.
I thought I saw your truck.
We figured that was the very first picture ever taken on that bridge.
Yeah, I'm coming back from the actress game back.
That was one of the Springdale cheerleaders that we were doing the senior pictures.
I told my group I thought that was your truck.
Yeah, we were down by that metal building just below there with the trucks. Me and her dad were down there talking. We let the girls go up there and do their thing. Yeah, they went up on the bridge and took pictures. Yeah. She just thought we were driving over that bridge the other day, and it was right at sunset. And she looked back. She's like, "That's really pretty. That'd make a good picture." So 2 days later, she said, "I'm gonna take her there. We're gonna take pictures there."
Where'd you take a picture?
On the new Don Tyson bridge on the sidewalk.
Yeah, okay.
So it did. It turned out really good.
And it is like
More handouts.
Are you upset? Because I can write one that's that.
I don't know what it is.
I thought I could write something that you might actually get.
Short is better.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Well, you know you want an argument.
Trees were gone.
Well, I had a friend said if I'd have had more time, I
I'm
could
gonna
have
come shadow play one day and see how.
I don't know if you'll be able to keep up with him.
And I told you said we could come sit with
Well, all right. Welcome to the crowd that's here tonight. I don't even have to bang my gavel to get everybody to calm down this evening. So it's definitely the summer months. And Dr. Rollins, we're all delighted to be here. Before we get started with our meeting tonight, Dr. Rollins will lead us in an invocation, and then I will lead us in our pledge before we call our meeting to order. So, Dr. Rollins.
We're glad to have each of you. Let's pray together. Dear God, we thank you for the abundant blessings you provide for each of us. We ask that you guide our thoughts and our actions, and that you help us always to constantly strive to recognize and serve the needs of our children. We ask that you help us realize that it's our responsibility to build relationships with parents and patrons that lead to opportunities to improve our service. We understand that these are special times and that Springdale is a special place to serve children. We ask that you continue to bless this work. Amen.
All right. Rise for the pledge. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, and with that, I will call our July board meeting to order. Board, you've each had the agenda for a few days now, and Dr. Rollins, are there any modifications or adjustments to our agenda?
Mr. Literal, I think the agenda would stand as presented.
All right, I will accept a motion to accept our agenda.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Hutchinson. Second by Mr. Owenby. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? There is none. All right, next, we also have the minutes of our previous meeting that were on pages 6 through 11 of our agenda from the June meeting, and I also want to thank Jeff for leading that meeting while I was gone last month, so I heard he did a great job, so I appreciate that. But,
It's debatable.
I'll move to approve the minutes as presented.
we have a motion from Ms. McFettridge.
Second.
And we have a second from Ms. Cook to accept the minutes. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? There's none. Okay. Well, this is our time in the agenda where we open up for patron comments, and if there are any patrons in the audience that would like to address the board, please feel free to come forward. Give us your name, your address, and keep your remarks brief if possible. We can't take action on those items tonight, but it would certainly be something we would consider for a later time. So, anybody in the audience need to come forward to the board this evening? No? Okay. Well, Dr. Rollins, we'll get the agenda rolling.
Mr. Luttrell, let me make just a special introduction. I'd like to ask Mr. Hudson if he would to stand and let us recognize him. Mr. Hudson's one of our parents. He's offered himself for service on our school board, and we're very glad to have you join us this evening. Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Okay. The first item, let's see now. Let me make sure that, Mike, I'm thinking with you. Are we to item A then?
Item A.
Let's do that. For those in the audience, we've had a work session this afternoon, and it's been wonderful, wide-ranging in terms of conversation, and we'll talk about some of that this evening. Jared, if you will, we've got some special staff we want to start our meeting tonight.
Yes, sir. Good evening, board and patrons. I'd like to have two young ladies in the room who we have added. We've added Dr. Megan Witonsky and Miss Shannon Tischer, who was assistant principal over at HAR-BER. And I don't know if Miss Tischer has been promoted or demoted from assistant to principal, but she is the new principal over at Southwest High, or Southwest Junior High, and we wanted to make sure that we publicly and formally recognize her. And also Dr. Megan Witonsky, and I'd like to ask both of them to say just some brief words.
Hello, long time no see. It's been a few minutes since we've seen each other. I'm so glad to be here and serve in this capacity. It was so good to come back to Springdale. I just couldn't stay away. That's what I told Dr. Rollins. I'm happy to be here and look forward to serving in this capacity and hopefully helping us transition to a new type of education for our students, which is really exciting. So look forward to working with you, and I more importantly look forward to working with our students.
It's great to have you. Thanks for being here.
Good evening to all of you. It's good to see you again. I cannot even tell you how thrilled I am to have the opportunity to serve our staff and students and parents of Southwest Junior High. And I know I've spoken to you all before in different capacities through college and career readiness and through my journey at HAR-BER High School. And the opportunity to be at Southwest Junior High as principal is such an honor for me, and I look forward to it. And I've been making that transition since April, and I've gotten to know our staff and some of our students and parents and such wonderful, amazing people at Southwest. And I look forward to really impacting school culture and building bridges with our feeder schools and continuing our relationships with our parents and patrons. And it's an honor and a privilege, and I thank you for the opportunity.
Glad to have you at Southwest. We'll miss you at HAR-BER. I know, won't you, Dr. Brackett? Yeah. Yeah.
Our team seems to become more and more robust, and we're very grateful for the leadership we have in Dr. Rollins to help guide us in selecting these new administrators and these new teachers. So anyway, thank you, Dr. Rollins, for your leadership. Thank you, board, for listening tonight.
Dr. Brown, we haven't seen you since about 8 o'clock this morning, all right? 9 o'clock maybe. We're very glad to have our principal at Central Junior High, Dr. Tamika Brown, here, and she's bringing a special teacher. And this gentleman has been here before. He's quite accomplished, and we're so very proud to see his work continue to be recognized. Dr. Bratton, if you will.
Dr. Rollins, Mr. Luttrell, board members, thank you for this opportunity to recognize one of Springdale's superstars. It is my privilege to recognize Darren Bond this evening. Coach Vaughn is a jewel. Not only is he our assistant football coach at Central, but he is a dynamic teacher. And when we want to represent a role model for coaches being teachers, Coach Vaughn is the man. I say that even though we are here to recognize him for his current award, the Patricia Bearing Teacher of the Year, I also want you to know that in 2012, Coach Vaughn was named the VFW Teacher of the Year for the state of Arkansas. And last year, in 2013, he was recognized as the DAR Regional Teacher of the Year. So he continues to make Springdale look great, and we are so proud of him. But even beyond those state recognitions and making the district look good, he impacts families. As I call him up to the podium, I want to read an email that I received from a family. I won't say any names, but this is one of many emails that I have received about Coach Vaughn. I'm writing a recommendation and including a thank you for Darren Bond. Coach Vaughn became the pre-AP history teacher for our 8th grade daughter at Central when she moved from regular to pre-AP after the Christmas break. She sometimes feels she is not as academically strong as other students. Coach Vaughn has come alongside her not only by helping her with History Day, but also by guiding and encouraging her every day in class. It has been a great blessing for our family to have a teacher who takes as much interest in our daughter as Coach Vaughn has done. He seems to genuinely enjoy her as he encourages her to be the best student and person she can be. Thank you so much, Coach Vaughn. And I am so honored to introduce to you again the 2014 Patricia Bearing Teacher of the Year, Coach Darren Bond.
Well, first of all, I really appreciate that. I'm very humbled. I feel very fortunate and blessed, and always have, to be a part of this school district with the leadership that it has in the school board and its administration, and the challenges that Dr. Rollins has put before us to make me not just a coach, but most importantly, a teacher, because teaching kids, and one of the things we're reminded always, it's about the kids. And so being a part of the National History Day endeavor, and it is quite an endeavor. It is adopted by our department, by our school at Central Junior High in our curriculum. Being a part of that and having the support of administration, Dr. Brown, just so energetic and passionate. And you all know Mr. Pittman and how passionate he is. I'm surrounded by colleagues that have always enabled me and have challenged me and have brought me energy to look forward to coming in each day. But the most important thing, I'm simply a representative of the kids. The kids that we have here in this district, and the kids that represented us at Nationals. We had 6 kids that represented us at DC. We had over 40 kids representing us at the state, most ever we've had. Those kids are just absolutely wonderful. And the thing about it is, the kids that did make it to state or did make it, they were pretty good. And so across the board, this project that we do and this academic endeavor that these kids are a part of is overwhelmingly positive for them in their development and their confidence and the essential skills that they'll need. So it's the kids, to me, that's the most important thing about this, and I'm just honored that I would be recognized with this award. Thank you.
Well, congratulations, National History Day. I think there's been a few parents that have been part of National History Day over the years up here too. So it's a big project. I'm glad that they were able to recognize you for that.
Your daughter included.
Absolutely. She's done it. And to say Mr. Pittman has a little bit of enthusiasm is an understatement. So, but y'all are doing great things at Central, and just keep on keeping on. So. Thank you, Coach.
Ms. Ford, let me invite you to the microphone. She's got a great announcement. And again, service to kids, just as Darren said, her announcement will allow us to do that at even higher level, will it not?
Well, good evening, and thank you for letting me be here this evening. We do have a great announcement at J.O. Kelly. We have received a 21st Century Learning Grant that will allow us to run an afternoon program for kids and families, and that has made such a difference in the past. This will be our second grant cycle. We had a grant, I think we were awarded 6 years ago. They run in 5-year cycles. So starting this fall, we will be offering students activities from 7:15 to 7:45 in the morning. We'll start out with some biking and running, and we'll have the fitness room open. And then from 3:15 to 5:45, we'll have activities. That'll run Monday through Thursday, and students will actually get to choose from 4 different pathways. Since we're the night, we call it Quest. So we've got Quest for Community, where students will be able to work with teachers and mentors on leadership, conflict resolution, decision making, some of the things that we'll be looking at: service learning, recycling, connections with our community leadership. Quest for Fitness and Well-Being, and students will get to bike, and we've talked about doing 7 habits of highly effective youth, and fly fishing and cheer and dance, Girls on the Run. Then Quest for Connection and Expression will be our kids using photography, using writing skills, using clubs, blogging, video, just to learn how to express themselves in a more adequate way. STEM Quest will be something that they'll all be very interested in, just becoming a maker community, robotics, East After Hours, young astronauts, connections with the technology community out in Northwest Arkansas. So in the summer, it will involve our bookmobile, Arkansas studio projects, our robotics camp, and there will be a homework component every day. Come and get help with their schoolwork, and there will be a monthly family component. There will be nights each month where parents can come in and actively engage in the different disciplines. The staffing will be a combination of J.O. Kelly teachers. We're going to invite former students back that are in engineering school, that are maybe in music and drama. And one of the things that I'm very excited about is that we will be serving dinner for our kids as well. So that'll be, they'll get 3 square meals a day there, the kids that are involved in that. And that's something that a lot of our families need. So it's a great thing, and we are really excited about that. Last year we did not run the program, and we need that extra time for connections with our kids. And they need that extra time to learn. So really excited about getting that back up and rolling.
Will everybody that wants to participate be able to participate, or is it capped at a certain number? Or?
We wrote it for 150 kids. Now, we wrote it last time for 150 kids and got up to 435 kids participating. Wow. So we will, yes, we let kids come. We wanted to come. Great. But we did target kids, and we will target kids who need the extra help.
It does go through the summer?
There will be a summer component to it.
Did you have that the last 5 years, or is this something new?
No, we had a couple of, and it's just a couple of weeks for summer camp, and then we ran the summer bookmobile through it through August and through June and August. So July was kind of a dead month, but things going on.
That's great.
Yeah. It'll be over $600,000 to run the program.
That's awesome.
Congratulations.
How many, maybe for Dr. Rollins, how many schools in Springdale now receive these types of grants?
As I was preparing for our meeting this morning, I was trying to think through that because I knew you'd ask me. But I think this may be our 5th school with the 21st Century Grant. We've got a number of schools. Our middle schools are really doing some nice work. I know Helen Tyson and Sonora have 21st Century grants, and Springdale High continues to have a grant. And am I missing who? Sonora Elementary. And Sonora Elementary. There you go. So 5 altogether, Mike.
That's great. We're excited about getting it started.
Well, go, go, go.
Well,
Thanks for coming. Congratulations. That's great.
That is an absolute tribute to you and your team out there. Those aren't just handed out. It takes a lot of good work and planning and service to kids to lead to that. So we all thank you.
Thank you. Thanks. Good project.
Thank you.
Board, we're on item D on the agenda, and I'd like to ask Mr. Hayes, who gave us a brief report today, to talk about the 89th work of the General Assembly and special session. And Kelly, I know there were several items that really have a specific bearing on our district and our staff.
Yes, Dr. Rollins, that's correct. Board, as you know, the General Assembly met in a second extraordinary session, and their primary purpose was to address the physical problems associated with the Arkansas Public School Employee Health Insurance Group. I'll get it out there in a minute. There were several acts that were passed as a result of this legislative session. A law was repealed that was requiring that all funds associated, according to the matrix, for health insurance would be spent expressly for that purpose. That was a significant, that would have had a significant impact on our district beginning next year. And so it was replaced, however, it was repealed, but it was replaced by legislation that stated that we will now submit, school districts will now submit their FICA savings to the state health insurance plan in order to help provide additional resources for it. And then the other major piece of this legislation was that they redefined the number of hours an employee has to work in order to be a participant in the program, and that has been reestablished to be 30 hours or more a week. The effect that that has on our district is that, and all districts across our state, is that a lot of our food service workers and our bus drivers do not work 30 hours a week. Therefore, they will not be eligible effective with the next open enrollment period or the next cycle, which begins in January. The thought behind that, according to EBD and the legislators, is that these employees are eligible for the marketplace that is in place in each state, and that they would be able to go to that source for their insurance. Be happy to try to answer any questions you might have. Yes, sir.
Will there be a cost to the employee? Will there be an increase for the employee? And you've talked about the district's cost, but what about the employee's cost?
The official rates have not been released yet. They had talked about it was going to be a very substantial increase if they had not done anything, but because of this, we will still see an increase, but it will not be as great as it was projected to be had this not taken place.
Other questions for Kelly?
Thank you.
Thanks.
Board, this is a lengthy document, as you can see, but it is really good background information. It is a report that is put together by the staff of the American Association of School Administrators as they work at the congressional level to deal with issues pertaining to our schools. And I think you will find it very, very interesting to read. You're well aware that the Elementary and Secondary Education Act and its reauthorization has been a point of focus now for many, many years. In fact, ESEA has not been reauthorized, I believe, since 2002. So we're 12 years with this legislation. And prior to this scenario, normally you see the Congress deal with this about every 6 or 7 years. So the reauthorization of ESEA is major. I think our Congress, based on the reports that I received from our senators, et cetera, and certainly Representative Womack, would say that there probably will be little movement on the bill this year, but there's a copy of a resolution prepared by the lead sponsor, Lamar Alexander, former Secretary of Education, as you remember, now Senator from Nashville. He spoke to our group at some length about his hope that H.R. 5 will be the foundation for negotiation and compromise that will lead to reauthorization in the future. He was optimistic, I know, but he thought perhaps in the next session of the Congress that this would be done. The problem with what we have now is a flexibility model that makes it very difficult sometimes to plan and budget and really prepare to serve children the way we would all want to do that. The ebb and flow of the ESEA flexibility model can and should be addressed through the reauthorization. So we spent quite a bit of time visiting about that. And when I say we, I'm talking about a group of superintendents from around the nation who've been elected to be members of the governing board of the AASA. And so, Mike, as you commented today, the agenda really provided a lot of opportunity to address the significant issues of the day. But reauthorization and funding would be of no surprise to anyone to see that at the top of the list. Also, student assessment was a very focused conversation about that, and the influence, if you will, of this common accountability move to reassess, 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 not from the standpoint of the importance of it, but from the standpoint of how when you continue that effort with state assessment, national assessment, and international assessment, then you may and do very easily fall into the trap of limiting time for instruction, and we talked about that today. The accountability piece is important to everybody, making sure the learning standards are in place and proper, that you want the opportunity to make sure the work is done in a balanced way so children have an opportunity to address core content learning, but at the same time develop their skills that will help them be great citizens in the future. So a review of the new learning standards is very much part of the conversation. We talked about it state by state, where it's working well, where it's hit snags. As I have visited with our staff, certainly our teachers, even in the last few days, and I've asked them about our efforts to bring the new learning standards forward. And I really believe that the way we've gone about it is the right way to do it. You engage your teachers, you talk with your teachers, you value their input, you let them shape the delivery system, and as we know, then it's the tendency of educators who are committed to serving children to make that process their own. And I think the more we heard of examples like that from around the country, the more success we were seeing with this rollout. The nutrition of our children, the health of our children across the nation was a very major topic that was addressed in length. The kind of examples we've seen in our district this past year with bringing breakfast to the classroom is important, but there are other initiatives that are on the horizon. That enrollment process, and we talked about that today, and your question was right on target. This idea of qualifying based on the National School Lunch Act and the poverty level of children. There are initiatives out there, and certainly our country is in a position to make sure, Sarah, that we feed all of our children, just like you were talking about, what'd she say, 3 square meals a day? Well, certainly breakfast and lunch, we're in a position to do that, and I think as our legislature continues this address, we'll see movement there without all the paperwork issues that sometimes limit services to our children. So that in itself was a major issue. You know, this past year, the idea of limiting federal spending has been very much on the minds of our legislators at the national and at the state level. We heard the term sequestration brought forward. You know, sequestration was the idea to limit spending over a 10-year period of time. And we were looking at our entitlement programs being reduced as much as 8 to 9 to 11% in an effort to curb spending, et cetera. Now, Congress restored about 89% of that money during the course of the year. But the effort is to try to get back to the pre-sequestration levels and then build on that in a reasonable way as the economy would allow us to go forward. This reauthorization of the Elementary and Secondary Education Act is just one piece of the conversation. There's also the Individuals with Disabilities Act as well, the IDEA, which is very important. You know that we serve 2,000 special needs children. It has been a commitment of the government for decades now to fund IDEA at least at 40% of the cost for operating those programs. We've not come close to that. The funding percentage is still below 20%. I think a better number would be in the neighborhood of 17 to 18% today. And even that might be a little ambitious. So the needs for the federal government to help us with serving special needs education is a very real part of the role of the federal government. The purpose of federal government support for the public schools has been equity. The idea of serving children who had specific needs and there needed to be a subsidy to help bring appropriate resources there for the children of need. 2,000 special needs kids. We use that number a lot in our district. We have more special needs children in our school district than 75% of the districts in the state have children. You've heard me use that number in regard to our minority population, like our Marshallese children. Again, the number just a little over 2,000 kids served. Well, those numbers are fact. We're a large district, we're a complex district. 21,000 plus kids as we open school, those children have needs. And the way you meet those needs is with resources that allow us to provide services that gets the playing field more level. So that's that equity conversation. We all understand that. So that reauthorization of IDEA is very important as well. But again, it's been out there for a while and we've not been able to move that agenda. So when you all of you, I expect, have visited with our congressmen, great people, great leaders. Their voice in the legislature is powerful, and we need more people like them to help us. But in order to influence that process, we've got to be involved in it. So as I spoke with each of them, they asked me to send this invitation to you. Do you have thoughts, Michael, things that you're thinking about, priorities that you know are important? I think we need to really re-engage ourselves and try to interact with our congressional leaders. I was kidding with Mike as we prepared for tonight's meeting. I'm sitting in Congressman Womack's office talking to him about the need to help us locate pre-K facilities to serve our growing pre-K population. And I got the same kind of reaction now. He laughed with me, and we enjoyed that, but we need their help. I mean, he has contacts. He knows people that may have facilities that would serve us very well. We brought Mrs. Fleeman, who's forward as principal of our pre-K program, and you know, I stand before you from time to time and talk about the growth of that program. We've gone from not having a pre-K program in the last 8 years to, as you heard the report today, the possibility we'll be serving more than 1,000 pre-K kids in August. There's probably not a better investment of our dollars than in the pre-K initiative. So the progress that we've made under your leadership, et cetera, in serving pre-K kids is absolutely phenomenal. probably the best investment that we can make to improve our school system. So I'm really elated that we've seen that kind of progress. The other side of the coin is that we'll have 300 or 400 kids on a waiting list. So we're not done. There's work to be done, and I appreciate that. Mike, I'm just going to present that to you for your review, and then I'd love to speak with you all individually as you have questions. But it was really a great week for me to be a part of that, and a great learning opportunity. I met a lot of dedicated educators who just want to help make things better for our kids. And I will tell you, the Springdale School District, the work of the Springdale School District is known well among that group.
Could you repeat what you said about, did you say there's optimism that this H.R. 5 Act could get some way?
Mr. Alexander, the sponsor of the bill, spoke very positively about the bill and his belief that this was the pathway to lead to reauthorization. And as you can see, as you read that bill, it very much pulls education back into the state's right issue, puts the states back in control of their public schools and what's going on in the public school classrooms of the state. The federal government clearly has a role to play, but in my opinion, it's by and large under the umbrella of equity. The responsibility of public school education is the state's responsibility. You are a legal representation, a legal officer of the state representing our local community and services to our kids. And much of the angst that's in the country today about this is the encroachment of the federal government into the state's role and into the public schools of our state. And so it's healthy debate, it's appropriate debate, and I think our country will find the right resolution to this, and frankly, I think in the near future. Any questions, Mike? I'd be glad to try to answer.
But I really have anything. I mean, clearly, when you look at the agenda of the meeting, there are all kinds of policymakers and folks that draft policy that were in these sessions with you from every branch or bureaucratic organization of the federal government. So those are the ones that are going to be making decisions, and I'm just thankful that you're at the table with them at least. So.
It really is a privilege. It was quite an experience, and I treasure it. Okay, I think the next item on the agenda, and I will be brief, my comments are always one of thanks to the school board. My impression was we covered a lot of ground this afternoon in our planning. As you know, we started at noon, we quit about 4:45 and walked down the stairs, and now we're in the meeting here. I really thank you, Mr. President, and certain members of the board for the work that you've done. There's just a lot of important efforts going forward to stretch and to get better, and you saw great examples of that throughout the day. Again, we need to come back where we started, in my opinion, and do that more and more and more. It's a privilege for me to say that our school district is growing in prominence at the state and national level, and our kids are leading the way. I don't know what better ambassadors we could have than Ricky and Kylie and Savannah, who we all shared with you their work. You understood that Ricky and Kylie not only led their East Initiative to Sonora to receiving the Founders Day Award, symbolic of the #1 East program in the nation, but you understood yesterday they were in San Diego leading an international conference and demonstrating the power of partnerships when communities and companies come together in partnership with kids and teachers. And you saw Savannah, our youngster from J.O. Kelly, doing the same thing here in a regional meeting. You want to comment on that? I'm knocked out by her too. What poise and character she demonstrated was amazing.
That was the...
Come up here.
That was the initial meeting of Ozark STEM, which is an initiative that's being brought forth through the technology community, basically in Washington-Benton County. Tremendous new technology, obviously, coming out of this area because of the businesses that they serve. And so some of the folks who from Walmart and from Rockfish got together and they said that we really need to bring our kids along with this. The vision of Ozark STEM is to provide Northwest Arkansas kids with world-class opportunities in science, math, engineering, technology. And so they are coming together. They formed a 501c3 organization and are just working they want to get the national and international robotics competitions here in Northwest Arkansas. They are offering they're looking at offering makers fairs, getting just giving kids more and more opportunities to come to their place and see the technology that's being developed. We've got meetings at the end of this month with the IT department in Walmart to get some of our kids up there to see what they're doing internally. Rockfish has invited us to do the same thing with some of their initiatives. So our kids are really going to be the winners in all of this, and it's because some of the people in these areas have really taken the initiative and are wanting to bring our kids along. And I mean, it's world-class kinds of things, and I mean, I'm just ecstatic. I'm probably more excited about this than anything in a while because our kids are really going to be the beneficiaries. That meeting represented people from all different areas of technology. There were people there from IBM, people there from Hewlett-Packard. They just sent out a blast to the technology community and said, this is our idea, come if you want to, and it pulled in over 300 people. So that was the initial meeting, and we got a spot. One of the two kids that got to address the group, they called and asked if we had a student who'd like to say what technology meant to her. And we said, well, yes, we do have a student who'd like to say that. So we got the call the day before, actually. And so that was not something that was that we'd been practicing with Savannah for a long time. But she put her notes down on paper, and it played very well to the crowd, actually.
Can you tell us more about her? What grade is she in?
She's in 6th grade.
6th grade.
Mm-hmm. She's going into 7th grade, and she's just this little gal that is, I mean, she just kind of walks in, and just like a lot of I mean, here's the thing. We got tons of Kylies and Savannahs, and it's just about giving them opportunities, and so that's the exciting thing. She's a great kid, and she's one of our members of our robotics team, and so they've been in conversations with the technology community out in Northwest Arkansas, but it's just been fun to watch them just grow. All they need is a chance and an opportunity.
That's beautiful.
Thanks.
Thank you. Okay. In a few days, we're going to invite about 1,500 teachers and about 800 support personnel back to serve 21,000 kids. And obviously, it's one of the most exciting times of the year. How you start, how you finish, always very, very important. You met two of our new administrators this evening, and we'll try to bring others to you as their schedules will allow, et cetera. But a great day today. We look forward for a great school opening. And as always, I thank each of you for your leadership and support of our schools. Any further questions, Michael? Thank you. Somebody at the microphone. What do you think? What do you play? Okay, Mr. Hendricks. Thank you.
I just want to begin by apologizing to you. Ms. McFetridge indicated that this instructional plan was quite brief. I'm not going to read this to you. What I would like you to look at is the very last page. It is a logic model. The rest of the document, in my opinion, describes what you see on the logic model. The point of this is not a strategic plan. So this is not timelines and goals and ways to measure and people that are responsible for certain actions. This is more just an overarching plan for the Division of Instruction. The Division of Instruction is large. It encompasses a lot of people, of course, all of our schools and all of our students, and a variety of things. I'm just going to briefly tell you about this last page and answer any questions. It is described in depth in this document. If you look in that left-hand column, those are our inputs. Those are things that make up the environment where we are, our community and culture, history, the leadership, partnerships and resources. Those are things that we don't necessarily have a lot of control over. We don't have direct control over. That's what makes up the environment where we are. And then on the right-hand column, these are the things that we want. We want recognition for our students, for our schools, and for our staff. And we know that the two easiest ways to do that are through student achievement and graduation. So we kind of have where we are on the left and ultimately what we want on the right. That outputs column, those are kind of the big things that we're about. We need skillful leadership from our level, from principals. We have outstanding curriculum, and I shared with you some documents today. We certainly are striving to have outstanding curriculum. Skillful leadership and outstanding curriculum will lead to excellent instruction, and excellent instruction with those other things supporting it will lead to personalized student learning. So the only column that really is left that we focus on and plan about and we write the strategic plans about is that second column, the strategies. And today we basically talked to you all about each of these things, but these are strategies that we use within the Division of Instruction. But LEADS is the principal evaluation piece. We think LEADS will help us to develop skillful leadership. Below that, the UBD, Understanding by Design, that was that curriculum unit example that I gave you. That is our vehicle for developing outstanding curriculum. PLCs, Professional Learning Communities. TESS, which is the Teacher Evaluation System, and GRR, which is our long-standing instructional model, as well as PLPs and SLCs, which are those personalized learning plans and student-led conferences. Those things lead to excellent instruction and personalized student learning. So for the Division of Instruction, the things we're focusing on for this year, it is the strategies column. And this is kind of twofold. It's not just to say what we're about, but it's also to say if you come and you have something that may be expensive and or disruptive and it's not in that strategies column, we'll probably need a compelling reason to know why we need to put resources into it, because this is plenty to work on right here. So it's kind of dual purpose in that way. And again, if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. And if you want a more in-depth read of that, it's contained here in this document. And that's this is where we'll begin. We'll write our We'll write our strategic plans based on the strategies in that second column.
Dr. Cleveland?
Good evening once again. I'll be assisting with you briefly about a couple of things. First is the staffing update, and the next will be the back-to-school calendar, which I think you have in your board packet. The first thing we'll discuss will be the staffing update. At this point, right now, setting staffing aside, our student numbers, we have 20,648 as our student number today. As we know, that typically goes up as we get closer and closer to school when the buildings open back up at the elementary in August. So in August I'll have you a better number, but right now that's a good number. What's interesting, I believe, and I think that you'll find interesting to you, the number of classified employees last year we finished up with was 1,045. This year so far we have 1,015. So we have a reduction of the classified staff numbers. That doesn't mean we're not going to be back up there, Board Dr. Rollins. Right now, we just haven't filled all of those yet. We're also adjusting to see if some of those positions will be needed. So that just takes time and filters out. For certified employees, last year we finished with 1,519 employees. So far this year, we have 1,520. So we've opened the iSchool, we've populated the staff out of current staff, and we're just holding as steady as we can. We have hired 78 new employees, if that tells you anything. So we're really trying to balance. And I've interviewed everyone. I can tell you, we've had plenty. But I'm really excited about the quality of the staff that we're putting together from the assistant superintendent level through to the certified teachers and classified staff. I really believe you'll be pleased. Really believe you will, and hope you to be pleased. My second subject will be the back-to-school meeting dates, and it's an abbreviated version for what we've got going. July 30th and 31st will be our pre-service new teacher orientation. The first day will take place at the PDC, the ILT, Mr. Hendricks and his group, and I will be there and will lead that day. The second day on the 31st of this new pre-service orientation, the teachers will be in their buildings for the first couple of hours. Then we'll meet with Dr. Rollins and the rest of the administrative team between 10 and 12 over at Springdale High. And then in the afternoon, they'll be back in their building. So that ought to be a great day for our new teachers to really get their hands and feet wet, if you will, on those 2 days. Okay, August the 1st is a big day for the rest of us. Dr. Rollins and the leadership team will all be together lakeside with the principals. As you know, we all go to the AAEA conference in Little Rock for the administrators. Those dates are the 4th through the 6th. We'll come back on the 7th and have our ILT with the principals at the PDC. On the 8th, the principals will be in their buildings preparing for the 11th, which is the time that everybody comes back to do that full week of professional development. So the 11th, the teachers and principals are in the buildings. The 12th, the teachers and principals are in the buildings. And then the 13th and 14th are when we do our chamber breakfasts. Okay, so we'll do those. And then the big day where we get everyone together, such a special day. How many of you have been to that opening when Dr. Rollins leads us through with the entire certified staff? One of the most incredible events I've ever been to last year, and I'm expecting no less this year. But it was just amazing to stand on the stage, see all of the staff that are there, and to how he and the rest of the team and the speakers bring everyone together to provide that enthusiasm and that incentive to start. Because let's face it, what we do is very, very difficult. What the teachers do every day is very difficult, and the importance is life-lasting. So it's great to have that day, and I look forward to it. Then on the 15th, we have Teacher Work Day and Planning Day. And then on the 18th, folks, we start. Kids will be back. It feels like kids just left, but we are preparing and have prepared every day, and will continue to prepare for their arrival. And quite honestly, I can't wait. It's one of the best days for me to have kids back, because then everyone's been hired, everything's done, and we're ready to go. That's why I live, is for that day right there. Do you have any questions for me?
I was just kind of curious. I mean, you always have to have a crystal ball for the first day of school. I mean, what do you feel on student head count this year? Any ideas, or is it too hard to judge?
Well, remember, Mr. President, this is just year 2 for me. I've only had one. I'm not. In fact, I tell folks all the time, I try to live by John Wooden's 2 sets of 3. Don't cheat, don't lie, don't steal. That's pretty easy. Don't whine, don't complain, don't make excuses. That's the second set, and that's much more difficult for me. But I try not to do that. I really think that we'll have close to between 400 and 500. That's what we're thinking. And if we have the pre-K additions, that's a whole nother conversation. So we could push What?
800 maybe.
What was the final count at the end of the year last?
We had 840, and we're going to add,
The total count.
oh, right now we're at
No, at the
20,006.
end of the year, what was the total count?
Oh, we had 20,441.
We'll be pushing 21 before it's all over with this year, right? Not counting pre-K.
We could. We sure could. So, and we
Why
need
do we not count pre-K?
Well, pre-K is funded a different way. We get $63.93, or did this last year per child, and on the 20,441. So pre-K is funded a completely different way. So that's why we set them to aside. And they're 3s and 4-year-olds, so it's really 2 different age groups. Okay. Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Okay, Mr. Hayes? 10th best comedian in the state.
We're going to have several items for you tonight.
Bring his grade up.
The first item is an update on the building projects. I visited with Mr. C earlier today, and he told me that he will have the final bill to me on the HAR-BER tennis complex, so I'll be able to close that project out next month. And then you see the continuing progress on HAR-BER Stadium. Any questions on that? If not, the next item I have for you, Board, is there are several students that live outside our school district that would like to attend Springdale schools, and they have been released by the various boards of the schools that they are zoned in, and so administration recommends that these transfer requests be granted.
I'll move to approve the incoming transfer requests.
Second.
Motion by Ms. McFettridge and a second by Ms. Cook to accept the incoming transfer requests. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? There's none, so motion carries.
Board, I would like to give you a brief update on the school election to be held on September the 16th. As you know, there is no change in the requested in the millage for the district, and so the item that will be, well, it will still be on the ballot, but there is no change. But we have Zone 3 that is up for election. We have 2 candidates that have filed for Zone 3, Kathy McFettridge and Henry Hudson. The Washington Election Commission met last week, and ballots, the names were drawn to see who would go first on the ballot. Ms. McFettridge will be listed first, followed by Mr. Hudson. According to election rules, we have to have at least 1 polling site open in each county that our district is in. And as you know, our district is in Benton and Washington County. So the decision was made by the Election Commission to open 2 polling sites. One will be at Bethel Heights, and I believe the voting location will be the Moose Lodge. And then the other location in Washington County will be at Elmdale Baptist. Any questions on that?
Never heard of the Moose Lodge, but
That's where they told me.
It's right down past, I mean, we used to vote at the, well, it's where I vote.
There you go.
We used to vote at the fire station.
Fire station.
And now it's the same road. You go on the other side of 71 Business, and it's just right there.
Are you a regular at the Moose
I
Lodge?
am. I like the people that handle the voting there. They are awesome. They're just so sweet, and so. Anyway, it's a lot easier there because at the fire station there wasn't enough parking, and it all always was done. At the Moose Lodge, there's tons of parking, and they're super nice. So there you
And
go.
I will share with you, there will be 2 different ballots because everyone in our school district, all the patrons are allowed to vote on the millage, even though it's not changing, but only Zone 3 residents may vote on the school election.
And Zone 3 is all in Washington County, isn't it?
No. it's
Oh, does
Hartland.
it go over into Benton too?
It does. Board, the final item I have for you this evening is the monthly financials, and actually it's the end of the year, so it's preliminary numbers for our end of the year. As I shared with you earlier today, it turned out to
be a good year for us. Revenues did exceed budget slightly, and expenditures were down a little over budget, and when those two things happen, it's good. So I'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Hey, Kelly, a couple of questions, and Dr. Compton, you might be able to help on. In the operating fund,
Yes.
there were a couple of things that were way over, not really way over. One was 107%, the other was 119. One was student transportation, and the other was other supporting services that were over what you had budgeted. Is there
Yes.
anything glaring out of those two
No,
areas?
I'll tell you this, because I, of course, took notice of those.
97% overall, so that's obviously good.
No, that's a good question, and it's something that I looked at as well. On the student transportation side, I can tell you that is, I'll take responsibility for that. Last year, I had quite a bit of money left in that budget, and I got a little overzealous in going into this year and cut it back a little further than I should have. So that's part of the explanation.
Kind of pull the rug on it.
And then the other part of the explanation is, if you'll recall, I talked to you earlier today about the reimbursement for catastrophic expenses. A lot of that, and some of those expenses are bus aids that ride on the bus, and had we not been reimbursed, then that would have had to have been paid out of another pot of money, but because we were reimbursed. And then supporting services, I had an explanation for that, and it slipped me at the time, but I definitely looked it up, and I'll get it to you. All right.
Thank you.
I'll just make the same comment I made earlier today, just Dr. Rollins and Kelly, and to any of the other superintendents that are in the room, is I think this board certainly appreciates, being under budget on expenses, and a little bit of good news on the revenue side, or the monies that are coming in. So thank you for, I guess, your stewardship and being fiscally responsible, and certainly that makes all of us feel better. And since we're over the governance and the budget of the school district, we appreciate that. So
That doesn't just happen.
all right. So thank you.
Good work.
Well, Dr. Rollins has set quite a standard for us all to follow, and so we are doing our best to be as responsible as we can with the tax dollars that are entrusted to us.
Don't we need to approve the,
All right.
don't we need to approve the financial?
We do. So any other questions? And if not, I will take a motion on the financial statement.
I make a motion that we approve the financial statement
Okay.
as presented.
Motion from Ms. Cook.
Second.
I heard Ms. McFetridge, I think, so there may have been a tie, but all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? There's none, so motion carries. All right, I don't know that we've got an SEA representative tonight, so with that being said, our meeting is adjourned.
Missed it by
Maybe
3
not
minutes.
3 minutes.
Missed it by 3